Hello and welcome back. This is the third tutorial, Rust programming. And this time I'm going to kind of illustrate a couple of new concepts. The last tutorial was just printing a list of integers, creating a list of integers and then printing it. This time we are going to create a linked list of integers and print that. And I am also going to show you how to use the cargo tool to both be able to build and also to test the application. So in order to do this, we are going to first create our tutorial directory, and we're going to do that by just saying cargo new tutorial 3 bin. That basically creates for us a tutorial 3 directory, as you can see. And inside of this tutorial 3 directory, we can type cargo run. Now it's going to be a very simple program, and when you do the cargo new, it just creates a hello world, and you can see that it compiled the hello world program and it ran it. So what we are going to do now is switch over to another screen, and I'm using screen right now, and I'm switching to a new window in the screen by hitting Control-A-N, and I have Emacs running here. And I'm going to go to my Rust tutorials, tutorial 3, source, main.rs, and you can see here, this is the main function. And what we're going to do here is we're going to actually leave the main function alone, and we are going to write a test function. So I'm just going to write a test function, test1, and I'm going to put inside of it our linked list. Now we're not going to create a linked list from scratch. They're actually quite complicated to implement in Rust, and you will end up. I mean, it will be a good I don't know exactly how to actually write it myself yet, but what I do know is if you want to search and find something online about different types of linked lists, I've found, based on going to the IRC, the Rust channel, I've found that if you search on Google for Rust too many linked lists, you will find a site that goes through and describes a bunch of linked list implementations, and it's there you can actually read about how to create a linked list. One of the things it says in that article, obviously, is that many times you don't really want to or need to implement your linked list yourself, and so we're just going to heed that advice. And for this, we're going to create a linked list using the standard Rust vector. And so I'm going to start with that by just just doing it, and I'm just going to say let our vector, well, let's call it xs, is equal to vec_new, and we are going to add a few elements. We'll add a 10. And I don't think we do add, we actually do push. You can find information on this by, if we, maybe I'll show you right now. So if we go to the internet, and I for example, let's see if I can't make this bigger for you. If I search for Rust too many linked lists, you will find Learning Rust with entirely too many linked lists. This is a good site if you want to learn about how to implement lists. And it goes through, and I haven't fully processed and absorbed all of it, but the reason I bring it up is this is the reason why we're not going to implement it in this third tutorial. It's because it's quite complicated. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Rust. I'm going to just search for Rust vec. You can see here we have the Rust vector, and I can push this little minus sign here, and that will like make it a lot more compact here to look at all the methods and things. And so we are going to basically, I'm going to look for the push. I think it's push, and push, yeah, it takes a mutable reference to self, which means you actually put the list first with a dot, and then you put the value, which we're going to have a 10 in there, and we're going to put, so we're going to do 3 pushes, and then we are going to we're going to do some pops. And what we're going to do is we're going to use an assert macro. So we're going to say assert equal 10 x dot pop. Assert equal 20 xs dot pop. Assert equal xs dot pop. Now this test is going to basically just test a very simple, a very simple operation on this, and just make sure when we push 3 items, and we push when we pop the 3 items off, we get the same thing. Now, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another search here, and I'm going to search for cargo test Rust. We can go to this testing Rust page, and what we want to do is put this this marker here as an attribute, and so we'll put a hash test like that, and then we will do a Control-A-N to switch to our other screen, and we'll do a cargo run, and we'll just verify that it still works. We'll do a cargo test. And what this will do is actually run our tests. So you can see here, well, that we've got some errors, and so we're going to investigate why we've got some errors. Excuse me. So basically, we're going to scroll through here, and I think one thing that I'm going to verify is that I'm using the right assert equals, so that's okay. Let me go back here. And xs.pop, I think that should be okay. Let's see here. Okay, I suspect one thing that we may have wrong is that the pop may not return it may return an option. So let me check that. The vector, if you do a pop, yeah, it returns an option. So in that case, we want to basically get rid of that option or filter that option out. So let's look, if we do Rust option, we will find our standard option here, and there are a bunch of methods on this option. We'll again minimize this so we can see. We'll look at the enumeration, and we'll minimize that. And you can see here that we have a bunch of functions here, and this unwrap is, I believe, what we want to do. We want to move the value v out of the option if it is sum v. So basically, if the option returns sum v, then we will just get a v out. And we'll just use that. So like this, we will come over here and we'll just say, that's an option, and then we'll unwrap it. That'll panic if it doesn't work, which will cause the test to fail. So that's okay with us. You can see here we compile, and this the test actually failed. So let's look at what we did wrong there. And I suspect maybe we have these in the wrong order. So this is supposed to be 30, 20, 10 because the push and pops are on a stack. I think that may be the problem. So we were able to get our test to pass, and we can do another test to verify that we perhaps have a, instead of using pop, we could say assert equal 10 is xs.0. Let's try that. Let's see if xs0 is equal to 10. Oh, it's because we already did the pops, so it doesn't exist anymore. So I'm going to move this up here like this. Okay, so we are able to get a test that passes this way. So what we'll do is we'll add a couple more asserts here. This will be 1, and this will be 2. 20, 30. Check to make sure that the indexing works. Okay. And with that, I think that's the end of the demonstration. What we've done here is we've made a new project with cargo new. I've demonstrated to you the basic operation of the vector class in Rust, and I've also done a unit test of that. So thank you for watching.